Well, this is it. Today is June 30th, 2025. What I am doing is taking the very last of the IK930 drug that I can take. It technically expires after today. The medication expires. And because it's a trial drug, they don't know what will happen after this date, its expiration date. Cheers. So I can't take it more after this. So the remainder of this bottle, this full bottle, this full bottle, and this full bottle. Can't be used. I have been on this drug since November 6th of 2023. So that's a year and almost 8 months of my life spent as a guinea pig for this drug that was actually somewhat successful. At my last scans in April, it showed that my liver tumor had shrunk by 1.5 centimeters, which we often don't see in cases of epithelioid hemangioendothelioma. As far as I can tell or know, it did not shrink any of the lung tumors and did not affect the bone tumors. Aside from stability, and I mean true stability, the lung tumors have grown slowly over time up until I was taking the IK930. When I started taking that, they stopped, and I have not had any growth in the lung tumors in the last year and a half, which is phenomenal. Shrinkage in the liver, phenomenal. Stability in the bones, phenomenal. I would say that this is a successful study, and I'm honestly very sad to see it be ending and not going to market. What it does do is open some doors for other TEAD inhibitors, which is what this is. This has been quite the journey, and I really appreciate you being on this journey with me. These are my tacrolimus. That's what I take to prevent liver transplant rejection. That one I'll probably always be on. What happens next is I send these bottles and my journals back to Massachusetts. I guess they're going to send me some labels or some prepaid labeled shipping boxes. I don't know. They're making their way back to Boston regardless. It feels really bittersweet to be ending this trial. I spent a lot of time and a lot of money to stay on the drug after the trial itself technically ended because it was working. My hair is different, as you can see. I decided to go back to blonde. Something else I've been working on is changing my career path. If you don't know already, I work in healthcare. I'm a phlebotomist. I draw blood. And I would like to move on to radiology and be a rad tech. Do, CT scans, MRIs, x-rays, maybe eventually work my way up to nuclear medicine. I'm just looking for a little change of pace. So over this summer, I've been doing, well, one class, one prerequisite. And so that's taken a lot of my mental energy, as well as full time, and as well as, summer break for my little guy. So, fully hands-on with him, which is part of the reason I've not been around since April. I have been busy, and unfortunately, YouTube is not a massive priority for me. It's not like it's a big money maker for me or anything. I do this more to share information and experience and just fill holes of curiosity for anyone who might want to know more about stuff and things. And I share little snippets of my life, and I haven't forgotten about Baking Through Betty. I will do fondant part 2. For whatever reason, working day shift has made me finding time to make those videos a little more difficult. I don't know. On that note of going back to school and probably having to do a physical class instead of an online class come fall, I'm probably going to be going back to night shift. Another potential factor into that is when I spoke with my doctor last week, he informed me that this next trial, which is also a TEAD inhibitor, has been announced to be opening at UCSF, which is 5 hours away from me instead of a flight across the country. This has not been announced on clinicaltrials.gov. It hasn't even been announced on the company website that is making this next drug. So I'm like hesitant, but it's been announced. They're talking about it. The worried part of me feels like this is LA, the LA situation all over again. There's only a few slots left in that trial, and they are nationwide slots. So he talked to me about potentially starting this next trial in Boston, which I said I wasn't going to do this again. But here I am. Probably going to do it again. And don't get me wrong, I love Boston. I love traveling to Boston. But being a mom, working full-time, and traveling was a lot on my plate. As it was. And I really want to continue with school. And so I'm going to try. I may only take one class at a time and work on these prereqs over the next God knows how many years. My 5-year plan for, getting through prerequisites and the Rad Tech program was originally a 5-year plan. And it's turning into a who knows what plan at this point. Because if any one of those 4 things is going to be sacrificed on the totem pole of importance, it's school. And I'm having a lot of feelings about it because I was finally feeling like I was getting out of survival mode, barely, from that trial. Just stepping back into the light, and here I go. Don't get me wrong. It's not that I'm not grateful for these opportunities to be on a treatment that might actually work. But it's definitely bittersweet because I don't want to have to sacrifice anything for the sake of trying to stay alive as long as I can anymore. I'm mentally exhausted. I'm physically exhausted. I'm emotionally exhausted. I just want to get on with my life. I've been diagnosed with this cancer for 13 years. And I've advocated hard for myself every step of the way. Every single step. And I'm tired. And I just want to live my life. I just want to accomplish the things I want to accomplish. So that's where we're at. That is the update. When one door closes, another one kicks itself open. Because what other choice do I have? I'll have more information for you guys soon. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you.